I am with the legendary Grant Cardone, founder and CEO of Cardone Capital, $4.8 billion in assets under management.
The New York Times best-selling author, sales training expert, and motivational speaker on leadership, real estate investing, entrepreneurship, and social media.
He went from broke drug addict to one of the biggest names in real estate, building a $4 billion portfolio and owning his own private jet. Grant Cardone.
Founder of the 10X Growth Conference.
That knows his stuff, man.
What is your goal with California, and how do you plan to achieve it?
I want to go back to California and help them become the best version of themselves. And we've raised almost $1.3 billion over the internet. This was not a plan. This was born out of sheer fear. I've always been an underdog, the way I grew up with my family and losing my dad and my brother, and things were hard for me. I would invest everything you can in you. It's tax deductible. You never lose it. Personal appreciation will always be bigger than any other asset class. Who knows? I could be the next male Oprah. In this country, financial indoctrination is the issue. We've been indoctrinated to benefit banks, save your money. All the money you've ever made, none of it came from saving. It came because you made a move.
Most people don't have any money. They're fearful of money. They overspend. They definitely don't know how to multiply it. Might be a world condition.
Are you involved in Scientology?
Yeah, practiced in Scientology for 21 years. There's no success without volume. There's no trick in this game. These things that Mark Cuban knows or Warren Buffett knows that we should be teaching all Americans at a very young age of how to invest their money, how to use money, how to put it to work. How do you get to be a bank rather than leave your money at a bank? How do you even know
I have
me?
a whole list. Well, you're going to find out in 1 minute. How about that?
Why do so many Jewish people know me?
First of all, are there more Jewish people that know you?
Dude, then there's Palestinians that know me.
We'll talk about all that, but
You know, and I've never met. Is it Jewish or Israeli? What is the difference between a Jew and an Israeli?
for sure, an Israeli, Jewish is a religion. Israeli is means you're a citizen of the state of Israel.
Okay, so I've never met a Jew. Is that inappropriate to say
No,
it like
not
that?
at all. You
Because
can
I'll
say whatever you want with me.
I'll
by the
say
way,
that, and my wife will be like, I'm like, what's wrong, dude? Like you could say Jew. Like
Yes, of course
it's
you
not a
can.
bad thing, right? It's a person's religion, and Jewish people have different levels of religion. But I've never met a Jew that didn't like me.
I believe that 100%. Because I'll tell you why. Because your values are very much consistent with Jewish values. Like the things you promote and push. Jewish people are very, very ambitious.
Yeah.
And they want to be very successful.
Yeah.
And the parents really emphasize that to their kids, whether that be through education, whether that be through, I mean, we could talk about the education system, that's its own thing. But even right now, let's just say let's just say 40 years ago, right? The way to it actually made much more sense to go to school and get an education versus right now where it makes far less sense. And the Jewish community is like much more now in like, you don't need school. Like they've adapted to that. So they're very much like tuned into what makes sense. But ultimately underlying it all is the ambition for wanting their kids to be successful.
Survival, man, survival.
Yeah, and they just want good values. Just be a good person. Don't kill people that are innocent. Like, just don't commit deliberate terrorism. Like, it's really not. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but I think there's also a commitment to prosperity.
For sure.
That's not lined up with money and cars as much as it is a survival mechanism. Like, you need money.
I love your spot in Aventura. I eat at Fresco and
I've never
right
eaten at
across the
Fresco.
street from you. Well, Soho, which is across the street from you.
Okay, I've never eaten at Soho.
Soho's directly. I mean that strip
Ryan
mall.
doesn't let me out of the office.
Oh, that's fair. I feel like even if he let you, you wouldn't ever leave. But Soho is one of my favorite restaurants in South Florida. Like, hands down.
Oh, wow.
They're awesome. Like, really, they are awesome.
Wow.
You should walk in there. I mean, you'll get bombarded, so good luck. Is that annoying? Is that annoying for you, by the way?
No, it's not annoying. No, it's not. I mean,
It never becomes too much?
It's no, not really. Not for me. I don't ever think about somebody coming up that's read a book or somebody that watches me on YouTube to be annoying, because it's very actually humbling.
Yeah, no, I hear that, but
oh my God, and we see it. There's a look people have.
Yeah.
Like, he saw it in a lady today. We were at Karen Fitzgerald's offices.
Yeah, sure.
Howard Lutnick's company, and we were walking into a meeting with a bunch of guys. It was an all-guy meeting, and mostly a male organization. And Ryan noticed this look this person has. It's a certain look that you have with someone when you recognize who they are.
Yes.
That you don't
I can
have
talk to that.
with a stranger.
for sure.
And I can see it.
Yeah,
When somebody,
I-
I'm like, hey, I see it immediately. Like your guy, you had a cashier down there when we were walking through. He recognized me. He doesn't want to say he recognized me, but there's a different look of acknowledgement, recognition.
For sure. There's a second glance that
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they
exactly.
give. So I have that, definitely not in the same to the same extent that you do, but in the Jewish community, I definitely have that pretty frequently. Like if I'll walk into a restaurant, I'll get that second glance.
Yeah.
And probably 1 out of every 10 people will come over and say something. But
Yeah.
I can just see as a celebrity, it's very humbling. And as a celebrity, I could see it being difficult. Like sometimes you're trying to spend time with your family or your daughters who are beautiful and they're great.
Yeah.
Sabrina was coming. I was like, that's what I was told originally.
Yeah, she
and
was
I was
coming.
like, we're gonna fire some rapid questions between Sabrina and you.
Oh
and
my
now
God, I
I'm
wish she was
upset.
here right now.
Yeah,
'Cause she's fantastic.
She
Next
is.
time we're here, I'll bring her and you can just do her.
she's great. She's really, really
you can
great. I
interview
see her
her.
stuff. I mean, the famous thing they say, you could tell a person by how his kids turn out.
100% agree with that.
And you've done a good job. That much is
Thank you.
for sure. So let's just give a quick go-to. All right, guys, if you haven't realized yet, I am with the legendary, straight up, Grant Cardone. There is no other words I feel like are necessary. I normally give an intro, Grant, but I'm going to give one anyways, but I don't need to give one. And if I just continued, everything would be fine. Because I don't think, but either way, Grant, founder and CEO of Cardone Capital, $4.8 million in assets under management.
Billion, man.
I bet billion. I'm sorry.
Please.
Founder and
Killing me.
Let me
I'm
redo
gonna
that.
jump out. I'm gonna jump off the building. Like I'm gonna go stand in
We're
traffic.
gonna redo that. We're gonna redo that. Founder. No, we need to. We need to get it right. This is an important one.
Okay.
Founder and CEO of Cardone Capital, $4.8 billion in assets under management. CEO of Cardone Trading Technologies.
Yep.
Over 20 million followers and subscribers across social media. I think, by the way, your most impressive thing you've done, by the way. We'll talk about that.
Oh,
Jumping
okay.
onto social media as fast as you did.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive
Yeah,
to me.
thank
I
you.
remember, New York Times bestselling author of 11 books on business, founder of the 10X Growth Conference, which is the largest growth business conference in the
that's
world,
true.
I think.
This guy knows his stuff. man.
I followed you for a long time. And the founder of the brand 10X, which reverberates, honestly, at this point, for sure, around America, if not the world.
Yeah, definitely worldwide.
You have a lot. I could keep on going, by the way.
I'll tell you a story
Yeah.
about 10X here in a second. But go
Please.
ahead.
So I actually brought something with me, which I thought you'd find interesting. So I have this book, Sell or Be Sold.
Yeah.
This is Grant's. Is this your favorite book or no?
Not
Not necessarily.
I mean, I wrote that book in 3 hours, so it was pretty. It
Love
was
it.
easy.
I would love to hear about how you
kind
did
of
that.
just came out of me.
It was just what you've been breathing.
Yeah,
For years
it
prior.
had been waiting there for
So
years.
I bought this book when I was 21 years old. I was a hungry kid. So I grew up, my audience is probably sick and tired of me saying this, but I grew up in a rabbi's home. We were okay, but
And a
definitely-
rabbi means, is that a minister? Is it a preacher? Is it a
No, not a preacher.
What is a
He's
rabbi?
A rabbi is someone who's ordained, is orthodox and ordained by. You have to pass certain tests
Okay.
of knowledge on Judaism.
Okay.
It's primarily in the Orthodox world.
Yeah, so
I mean,
it's kind of like a minister or a teacher,
Yeah,
a
same idea.
preacher.
So he's actually the principal of one of the biggest schools in Brooklyn, or definitely was one, large Orthodox school in Brooklyn. So we grew up, honestly, a little bit in, it doesn't pay well. He's a teacher, effectively, so I'm one of 10. We did not grow up,
Say 10X.
10X, baby.
What number are you?
10X. I'm number 4 of 10.
Okay.
And we did not grow up with a lot of money, and there was definitely a scarcity
But even
component.
if you did, dude, you got to split it 10 ways. So it's like there's not going to be a lot of money.
Listen, you just got to make a fuck ton of money. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Which is fine, and
Yeah.
that has, thank God, happened. But the idea is, when I growing up, there was a scarcity factor
Yeah,
because
sure.
when you have 10 kids, especially in New York, you got to be making crazy money
Right.
to not have that scarcity angle, and we definitely were not there. So when I was 21, and as I was growing older, I'm like, I need to make money. Like, I'm just sick of this. I want to be successful, and there's a part of that from the scarcity of growing up with now a lot of money, and also just being naturally ambitious. Anyways, I bought the book Sell or Be Sold. I think you'd be very, very proud to see.
Do you have it highlighted?
I mean, I have page after page.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
Highlighted. I mean, one after the next. This is what I have. This entire book. This is one of the first books I read, and I want to say thank you for inspiring me. I learned things from this book. I really did. I learned practical steps of.
Like what? What's one of your big takeaways?
it could sound stupid, but one of my biggest takeaways was just learning an understanding of sales. Just the 10x concept was the first time I learned it from this book, and it was just the idea that whatever you think you're doing will result in success. You need to. Sales is about hits, and you need to do an extreme amount more, of those hits. I call them touches, So if you think you're going to result with whatever it is based on, let's just call it 100 touches, you need to do 1,000. That was my simple,
so you read the 10X rule too?
Of course, yeah. No, I'm very much familiar.
Okay.
There were other concepts as well that I was, that I learned from this book, such as just the idea that you think money is,
scarce.
Yeah, you think money is scarce, and it's like, what I realized? It's hard to imagine and understand what it means to see a bank account with 8 figures in it. It's especially if you grow up and in your bank account is max $10,000.
Right.
It's like, could this be possible? And it almost seems unachievable. And once you just realize, no, it's definitely possible. And there are many people that have that. There's a portion of people for sure that have that, and it's accessible if you put the work in. So that was something I learned very much. I'll say one other thing. In my journey of sales, we've had another interaction, which you don't know about, for sure not. And that is that I reached out to you, Grant Cardone at CardoneCapital.com or something, Cardone or something. I think that's the email. I haven't looked at it in a minute. And I reached out to you because I had a real estate deal in Gainesville, Florida. That was a great deal. It was a very, very solid deal. And you asked me, sorry, I got to be honest, you asked me, do I have a listing agreement on the deal? And I said, no, but I guarantee you I could deliver you this deal, and it's a great deal. And you responded to me, I don't deal with deals that don't have listing agreements. And I said, okay, but 10X means you don't give up on a deal. And I closed the deal about, I think it was 45 days later, to the tune of $74 million.
Wow.
And and I was
How many units?
Grant, I'm upset that we did not do this deal together.
No, me too now, man.
Yeah.
How many units?
How
many units was it?
It was, I think it was in the 300s. I know that. It was in the 300s.
Yeah.
The actual price I'm realizing right now is $76.5.
Yeah. Okay.
I sold it. You probably know who I sold it to us. I sold it to.
Okay. Yeah.
He's great. I'm close with him. And whatever.
Would you get paid on that?
On that deal? I don't know if I'm allowed to say here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I mean, I will deliver you a deal in 60 days or less, and I will serve it up for you, a fastball down the middle, but I'm going to charge for crisscrossing the country and finding great buyers, finding great sellers. I don't know what market is. Also, in New York, in the real estate market, commissions on multifamily are 2 to 3%.
Oh, wow.
Yes. On any multifamily deal you do, pretty much straight. I mean, maybe once it goes above 50, 60 million.
Wow. I don't know who you're doing business with, man.
No, in New York, if you're buying a 40 to 100 unit building in the Bronx, in the city, commissions are 2 to 3%.
Okay.
A multi. So out of state, I know it's significantly less.
Yeah.
We struck a deal, we got it done. It was a buyer.
Well, good. I'm glad.
We're gonna have to do deals together. That's really what
we got to do deals. That's not one of my markets that I'm interested in, but that's probably more of what it was than anything.
Probably makes sense. I was just another schmuck that was probably bothering you, so I totally get it.
All
right, we got to back it up though.
Okay.
I need to hear about your childhood a little bit.
And wow.
I got
to go there.
Yeah. We got to. All right, everybody, I want to take a quick second to give a big shout out to our sponsor for this episode, CubX. CubX is, as far as I'm concerned, the #1 IT provider for businesses, whether that be big or small, real estate, healthcare, finance, e-commerce, apparel. It does not matter. These guys have it on lock. I know this because I personally use them, and I've referred these guys to probably 10 different friends of mine who are all running both small or large businesses, and they've all come back to me and have given me rave reviews about these guys and thanked me profusely for sending them their way. So if you want to get ahead and focus on the things that make you money and not be busy for hours when a tech issue comes up, give these guys a call. They have changed the game and most importantly have changed the IT experience for those who use them. Their customer support is off the charts. I can personally attest to this. One ring, they pick up, and you're dealing with an experienced tech who knows what's up. Feel free to test it. If you're starting a new company or are unhappy with your current IT provider and are looking for the best product out there, take it from me. This is a no-brainer choice. Give these guys a call. You can reach them at 732-444-8771 and choose sales when following the prompts. Or you can reach out via email at hello@cubx.com. That's HELLO@CUBX.com. You can also check them out at CubX.com. That's CUBX.com. Now back to our episode.
Yeah, so look, I grew up in we had 5 of us. There were 7, mom, dad, and 5 kids. Right. And my dad died when I was 10. And if anybody's been following me, they know this story. But my dad died of a heart attack, and my mom didn't know anything about producing money, income. She really didn't know how to manage money. So we went into this. We went from being achieving, getting into the middle class to like, okay, all this is at risk now. The bicycles and the brick house and, the things that the middle class is built around. Security, some savings, life insurance that my dad had. And my mom had to go into preservation, and into conservation and to saving and being resourceful. And so, immediately at 10 years old, when the family really should have been going through grief, we were moving into fear.
Yeah.
That the middle class every day, by the way, I'm not asking anybody to feel sorry for me, but because there's 250 million people in this country today feel exactly the same way. I don't have any income. If I have any income, even if I'm making $400,000 a year, or some of those people in Santa Monica just had their homes burnt to the ground that thought they were worth $4 or $5 million, are waking up today saying, "No, you're not worth anything. You lost your home. You only had $3 million worth of insurance. You probably had a $6 million mortgage. You're upside down. You're never going to live there again. You have no place to live. Your kids don't have a school to go to. Your cars could have been burned as well. And you're living out of a hotel room and maybe not even luggage."
Yeah, I definitely want to get into California.
Yeah, but that was the kind of the environment I grew up in a refinery town in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I didn't have all this New York prosperity, and my neighbors weren't Jewish, that were ambitious and talking about success. So I didn't have any of those examples as a 10-year-old.
So you talk about how you fell into drug addiction at a point.
At 15,
how did you get out of that?
Well, it was long, bro. It was 10 years. I was on used drugs every day for 10 years, from 15 to 25, and then finally quit. And
was there a method that you used, or was just you were sick and tired of being sick and tired?
Well, no, the people around me were sick and tired of me. I was definitely sick and tired of me. I was disgusted with me every day for 15 years. Nobody starts using drugs thinking they're going to become a drug addict.
Yeah.
They just think, hey, I'm having fun, I'm busting out with the buddies, and we're all having a good time. But nobody beats drugs. Nobody in mankind has ever beat them. Nobody can beat them. And for, I'm ashamed to say that I went down that rabbit hole for 10 years, and I quit every day for 10 years. And then one day I finally quit. One day it stuck.
You obviously had a very tough, losing your dad at 10 is a very, very, it's a traumatic experience, so probably a little compassion for falling down there, and I think it's beyond impressive. I mean, there are people who try getting, obviously had a drug addiction for who knows how long, for their entire life, and they never get out.
Yeah.
And you build an absolute empire, post that. So I think that's really, really incredible and a very inspirational thing. I know that you're very, very heavily involved right now with California.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically is your goal with California, and how do you plan to achieve it?
The goal with California is the same goal I had when I was 25 years old. I wanted to fix Grant Cardone and become the best version of myself. And, right now what I'm doing with California is I want to go back to California and help them become the best version of themselves. It's a state that's addicted to too much money and too much good weather and politicians that have basically raped the state for the last 80 years.
How do you plan on achieving that?
Fortunately, by waking people up. I think there's a moment in time where, like, in my drug addiction, like when everybody said enough is enough, and I was 25, my mom said no more, my brother said no more, my sisters leave me alone. Like, everybody had enough of me. Boom, I was literally in a treatment center in 20 days. California, I think, is at a place where these fires, this isn't the first time they've had fires. Every season, this time of the year, Santa Ana's blow through, humidity drops to 20 or below, and then, a fire can start. Most of these fires, by the way, are started by homeless people. And I've been saying this, I lived in California for 25 years. For 20 years, I've been saying one day there's going to be a spark, a fire. Something's going to be lit, intentionally or unintentionally. And all those homes in the Palisades, on Malibu, on PCH are going to light up and burn to the ground. Yeah. And that's what happened.
I wrote on X, if you voted for Newsom or Newscomb, whatever the hell you want to call him, that piece of shit, honestly, I will just say it. I think he's a cancer.
Yeah,
if you voted for him on the recall in 2021 and your house burned down, I have zero Zero empathy for you. I don't even care.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
I'll break down. That's the truth.
I don't know if I can go that far.
Oh, I'm
but
going that far.
But clearly, the people in California are complicit in this problem.
Yeah.
Because you have voted for this over and over again. It goes back to the Gettys and the Pelosi's and Gavin. He's been there in that office 16 years. Before that, he was a commissioner. The mayor's office, Bass, she's never done anything in public life ever. This has all been our private life. Both these people have been on taxpayer dole for their entire careers. And this has got to stop in California, where Californians are like, oh, we're liberal and we're Democrat. Y'all got to stop this madness, man. Because right now you pay the highest taxes in the country. You have the highest home prices, the highest rents, the highest grocery prices, the highest transportation prices, the highest insurance prices. Like everything is too high. Your weather's perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that's what puts people back into the unconsciousness of like, oh, God, it's so beautiful. But look, the place around you is burning down. These people that say they want to help you with rent control and price control and insurance controls, most people are not talking about this, but the insurance companies were restricted by the state of California last year to raise insurance premiums.
Really?
California came and said, you can't raise again. Okay? Now, the reason that's important is because anytime the government gets involved to regulate anything, it will become either more expensive or they'll withdraw. And that's what the insurance companies did. Allstate, State Farm, and Nationwide withdrew because they couldn't raise the premiums.
How did you even...
Hundreds of thousands of people, not 18,000. 18,000 homes are down, but hundreds of thousands, millions of people are without home insurance today in the state of California, or they're limited to $3 million of what's called a Fair Act. I can't even say it because it's like, it ain't a fair act, it's a fuck you act, okay? and basically, like if you had a $6 or $8 or $10 million home, which a lot of people there in the Palisades, they might have an $8 million home that they inherited from their grandmother who bought it for $40,000 in 1945. Could have got the house for $40,000 or $80,000, and over the last 40 or 50 years, that house is now worth $8 million. The person is basically real estate rich and cash poor. They have no insurance or $3 million worth. It'll cost $12 or $15 million to build the house, and the person doesn't have 12 or 15, so they'll be homeless basically.
You bought a house obviously there a couple of years ago, right? Well, first of all, why did you buy a house there knowing,
dude, it's the greatest. It's the nicest real estate in the world.
I hear you, but it's the most dysfunctional real estate in the world as well.
It's the most beautiful real estate on planet.
I don't mean the
Earth.
real estate. I mean it's the most dysfunctional government.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I was on Carbon Beach. I didn't have anything to do with the government.
Yeah, you were doing your own thing.
Like you had to get to my house, and inside my house is everything I want to do to protect myself. So I'm sitting on Carbon Beach. It's literally a billionaire row, and I stole the house. And every house, 18 houses adjacent to me, burnt to the ground.
Yeah, what happened to your house? How bad was the damage?
The fire, because it was all timber. This is old timber. This is part of the problem is the Coastal Commission in California that nobody's talking about. One is the insurance companies. They're not talking about California and like trying to restrict insurance companies. Don't do that. Let the marketplace charge whatever it charges, because those people, a lot of people would have been like, yeah, okay, I'll pay double the insurance, whatever, just protect my home.
Covered, yeah.
Okay, So, but I got a buddy had a $28 million house, 10 houses from me, burnt to the ground. He has $3 million worth of insurance.
How does the mortgage? Does anyone there pay mortgages?
Bro, yes, some
so
people
how does
do.
The mortgage? How does a mortgage?
That's the whole problem. Like we get into that in a second. You'll see the problem. This is probably a $500 billion event.
I guess my question just is the reason you need homeowners insurance is because
not necessarily. Let's say the home's paid for, but
right. Okay, so
but if you can only get $3 million and it costs you, let's say you had a $25 million mortgage.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have a mortgage on my home, but let's say I had a $40 million mortgage on my house. I could only have $3 million worth of coverage.
Why do the banks allow that? That's my question.
Well, they wouldn't. They'd be like, you have to pay cash. So look at the problem. The regular person will not be able to buy real estate in California.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, you have to be a little bit of a conspiracy theorist to start kind of tying this together now. But a lot of people think that this is a land grab. Because by regulating the insurance companies or allowing the Coastal Commission, which is a communist organization, is the mafia, dude. It is what Newsom and Pelosi and all those guys have used for 50 years to control the state of California. I go to the Coastal Commission and say, hey, I'm buying this house right now, and I want to tear it down and rebuild a new house. They're like, yeah, you can do that. We meet once a month. There's 12 of us. We meet in a different spot every month. We won't even tell you where we're going to meet. And it's probably going to take you 7 years to get an approval.
Wow.
I'm a rich guy. Let's say I'm a rich guy and I want to buy this house. I want to buy the water address. And I need to take it down, though, because it's old. It's 50 years old. And I go to them. I'm like, they want $10 million for the house. I don't mind paying $10 million because the location's great, but it's going to take me 7 years. So I'm like, I'm not interested. Yeah. And that's why all those homes.
They stifle growth.
That's exactly right. They overregulate, and they kept people from building. Now watch what happens, okay? All these homes are built of timber that is 50, 60, and 70 years old. Some people believe that the objective was to have these homes burned to the ground.
Really? And
that people will – I have 18 neighbors burned down, okay? How many of them are going to rebuild? It's going to take 7 years.
But they also can't rebuild. They don't even – I mean, maybe
let's say they have the money. Let's say they're rich as shit.
Yeah.
Let's say one guy wants to buy the entire strip. He's still got to wait 7 years, bro. Rich people don't want to wait that long.
Yeah, of course.
They're like, fuck it, I'll go to Greece. Okay, I'll go to Miami. I'll go anywhere, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to wait. So what do they get? They get their coastline back. But in the interim, because they're going to hide under the environment, we're taking care of the environment, we're protecting this rat or this rodent or this fish or whatever. The RVs are parked in front of it. You can literally drive down my house and you can see RVs that were burnt to the ground, where people pay no taxes, pay no permit, and they can literally sleep on the PCH in front of the beaches of Malibu.
Oof. What happened with your house? How bad was the damage?
So the fires burned. It took 18 homes down, and then it got to my house. There was a flame about 75 feet underneath my house, but it didn't burn because my house was built 14 years ago.
So the wood
out of
wasn't
concrete block.
Oh, that's why. Concrete.
Okay, and if all those homes would have been rebuilt over the last, and somebody wanted to rebuild them all. Trust me, every one of those homes could have been bought over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And you'd have put concrete, steel, and glass in, and none of those fires would have happened. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. Like, none of this had to happen if the Coastal Commission was not used as a regulatory body. So Trump's about to – Newsom's over there trying to get money from Trump today.
Yeah, of course.
Trump should say, okay, I want you to put aside – I'll give you whatever you need, federal dollars, but I need you to push the Coastal Commission aside. They can't have anything to do with this.
I find it unbelievable the amount of times that Trump says something that seems absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah.
And it's just a prophecy. It's like he said this.
He said
I remember
4
watching
years
it on
ago.
the Rogan pod, and I just thought, like, classic Trump. Like, he's talking about, like, water in California and fish smelts. I thought he was like, whatever. It's like, who knows? It's not relevant. And then, like it's unbelievable.
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
Next, it's really insane.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this episode, Isak Clothing, quick wardrobe change, and I could never be happier. I started wearing their stuff recently. They are a business casual line offering style, comfort, and luxury. They have a fantastic selection of suits, blazers, and polos. Some of their signature products are Supima cotton shirts, which are super comfortable and offer a soft four-way stretch, breathable material, and offer amazing comfort. Pricing is affordable, ensuring you're not getting garbage, but also that you're not breaking the bank and you're getting great bang for your buck. Customer service, fantastic. That's the biggest thing for me. I use them. They're great. If you want to upgrade your clothing game, make sure to check these guys out. You can find them at isaknewyork.com. That's ISAKNY.com. I got you guys a great discount as well. Spend $100, get 20% off. You can enter a promo code upon checkout, Mialibeled. That's Mialibeled with an I, and you will be able to get that discount. So again, to check these guys out, go to isakny.com. That's ISAKNY.com. These guys are the new up-and-comers. Their stuff is fantastic. I've been wearing it lately. Super comfortable, affordable. You will not be disappointed. Now, back to our episode. The question to me, honestly, is what really happens with the real estate there now? Because whatever the real estate was worth, like, even your house, I'm being totally honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, how far in value did that go down? Because there's nothing there anymore. So, like, you don't have an infrastructure of a community there, at least not now. So,
yeah, well, we don't know whether the house is worth zero today or whether it's worth $140 million. It's one of the two. It's either worth less or it's worth a lot more.
Right. You're saying once they clean it up, if they build... rebuild.
Yeah, but look, we've been 31 days now and there's no cleanup.
What are they waiting for?
Well, environment.
They're still going.
The environment. You can't go there and you can't clean up the debris.
This is the problem. These people.
And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? The toxins are already in the air. Oh, you can't touch it. You can't touch the debris now because if you touch it, it's going to push more toxins
out.
Brother, it's already in the air. It's in the air. It's in the water.
Yeah.
You have the biggest environmental mess ever caused by environmentalists. None of this, all of this should have been concrete, steel, and glass over the last 20 or 25 years.
Yeah, I mean,
concrete doesn't burn.
The fact, but
okay, I could put a lighter on this right now. I could put one of those blow torches on this bottle of water. It's not going to burn.
Nothing's happening. Yeah, of course. To me, it's just crazy that Newsom is still the fact that they didn't force him to resign right now is he's going to live through this.
Yeah.
He will live through this,
Yeah.
and that is. But that's the problem, honestly. The fact that people aren't sick and tired enough of being sick and tired.
Yeah, and that's what I went to
wild.
California. We started doing these rallies.
So yeah, tell me.
And I said, let me go over there and see if I could find out if these people are angry enough to say never again.
Are they?
I don't know. They are for a moment, and then
Yeah.
the weather's like, oh man, that weather's good.
It's crazy. Yeah.
You know. But
It's
I think the state of California, not to offend your viewers, but I think they're just used to taking it in the ass.
Oh, for sure. You're not offending my viewers. I say, I agree with you 1,000,000%. To me, it's just unreal that people could live in a place which is so highly regulated, so far left liberal. I was in LA 2 weeks ago.
I think they're guilty of their success, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the Jewish people over there, they're complicit in the crime too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, you'd be surprised. I don't know how many of them vote for Newsom. I don't.
Yeah.
But I would. But I would tell you.
Most of them.
So okay, there's a
Most
big
of
difference
them.
between Orthodox Jews politically.
Well, you're
like
defending,
their
you're
views.
defending your.
No, there is practically.
Yeah, okay,
So, for
okay.
example, 95% of Orthodox Jews voted Trump. Probably,
Okay.
probably like 1,000, maybe 80 plus.
Yeah, yeah.
It was overwhelming. Secular Jews can't seem to get it through their head, and they are probably pro peace deal right now with Hamas because they haven't gotten the message.
my
I mean,
gosh.
maybe right now they're not, but most of the people, for example, on October 7th that
Yeah.
were killed on October 7th
Yeah.
were people that were peaceniks. They were very empathetic to the Palestinian cause to the point that they would bring Palestinians to the hospital in Israel when they needed treatment.
Wow.
Yeah, like we're talking like these were people that were pro Gazans coming into Israel to work, which a lot of Gazans not very talked about, but Gazans used to work in Israel prior to October 7th. They would come in, you need a visa, they would come every day and go back every day. And these were the people that Hamas murdered.
Wow.
Like actually. So because they don't get the point that this has nothing to do, it's an ideology. It has nothing to do, it's a religious ideology. There's nothing to do with how nice you are or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
They want you dead, like effectively. That's really what it comes down to. And these type of people, they just don't see it. Not just with Israel. I'm talking about just liberals in general, honestly, in my opinion. It doesn't make a difference what happens. They're not going to see it. Actually,
Look, it's just common sense for me. Like when things are not, I lived there 25 years. I moved from California 13 or 14 years ago because they went from 10% to 13.3% increase in my taxes. And they were wasting the money. This is 14 years ago. They were wasting the money.
You see what Elon's doing right now?
It's just getting worse. Okay.
You seeing what Elon's doing now
With Doge?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But the stuff that's coming. I mean, first of all, hold on 1 second. Yeah. You have the whole Democratic Party, which clearly haven't learned anything yet.
Yeah.
That is busy fighting against the idea of let's cut down the federal government's crappy spending.
Yeah.
Just the idea from an objective standpoint. You could be anti-cutting a budget and getting rid of unnecessary spending so you don't pay more money in taxes so that your money is spent more money. It doesn't compute. No. It's like, why would you not want that? It's just, so you have this whole thing going on right now with Elon, but the actual, I mean, Biden's administration, I just saw this yesterday, it's insane, was literally giving money directly to the New York Times. Yeah. I mean, that's straight.
And Reuters.
And Politico. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
Politico.
And it started all in 2021. That's crazy shit to me. That's like, that's real propaganda straight. Like, I don't know. That was a nutty thing. I wanted to ask you about 10X Growth Conference. This is the last year, right?
Yep. Year 10.
Why are you stopping it? I know. Why are you stopping it?
We've done 10 of these. It's the largest business conference in the country. And we just feel like we've done what we needed to do with that. And this year we're going to finish with a bang. It's going to be epic, massive.
Could you tell me some?
I cannot tell you who's coming. I can tell you I will be there.
Am I going to be there?
You could be there.
You could be there.
You could be there. I know this. We've never, ever have let anyone know who the speakers were going to be.
Oh, at all?
And we sell out the event without disclosing. 30% of the tickets were sold before we had a date or a location.
You don't have 30%. You don't share any speakers?
Nobody knows who's coming.
When do you share?
When you get there.
Wow.
And the event opens Then you see the speaker.
That's crazy. How did you sell that to start the first year?
Because that's what I did. I said, we're never telling anybody who's coming.
That's
Donald Trump had this conversation with me. Exactly what you're asking me right there.
It's wild.
He's like, how do you do that? How do you put 30,000 people in a room and they don't know who's coming? I'm like, because I just tell them I'm going to be there. And he's like, well, who are you? He's like, who are you? You know, he was fascinated by this story.
I'm sure.
He's like, if I spoke at your deal, and he talks like this, right? If I spoke there, you'd want to put me in the promo. I said, no, sir, no, Mr. President.
You did not. You told him no?
I said, no, sir. I'd bring you in as a surprise and have a value added, and it will blow their mind.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but you could get more for each seat. I said, yeah, but it's already sold out. And
That's
he's like,
great.
well, who are you? And he agreed to come.
That's awesome.
So I had him in 2020, 2021.
Was that long ago? I thought it was 22.
Yeah, he wasn't in favor. I know when we had him, we had 3 speakers cancel after he came up. 3 speakers
Really?
that we had not, by the way, told anybody was coming.
Do you tell the speakers which?
Well,
other
the speakers. When he came out, we opened with Trump.
Oh, why
Trump's
did they
like-
cancel? Because
Because
Trump
they're
is
like,
terrible?
they called up. They're business managers. We can't come to this now anymore. Okay, we're sending you the money back. I'm like, bro,
Wow.
it's tomorrow morning.
That's
Okay,
crazy.
you're supposed to be closing on. I can't do it. I got too many agreements. I'm like, well, f you. Okay.
People are so.
Yeah, and so I'm like, you guys, you're not even free. You're
Yeah.
in a country and not free.
They're so.
So we asked
insufferable.
Obama, by the way. I asked Obama to come. I asked what's his name, Sleepy Joe, to come. I asked Hillary, what's his name?
Did they even respond to you?
Yeah,
I'm amazed they
Obama
responded.
wanted me to. He was willing to do it, but he wanted the entire. This is 3 years after COVID. He wanted the whole 2022. He wanted everybody proof of vaccination by everybody.
I was still going with it.
I'm like, bro, wait, I mean, I'd like to talk to you.
You got the wrong
But I don't
audience.
fucking talk to you that bad. I ain't taking that shot. Okay, go get mine for me.
You took. You never took the shot. I take.
No.
Yeah, no.
No shots, no boosters, no. I was so anti all that, dude.
I outlasted the whole thing. Meaning,
Yeah.
I
Now
my
a lot of
position was-
Jewish people went and got it quick.
No, not true at all.
Huh?
They had proof of vaccination, but they
Yeah,
definitely
but-
didn't get the shot.
No. Oh.
Oh, I had a vaccination card. Were you kidding me? Of course I had a vaccination. I created it, but I probably shouldn't say that. But I mean, who gives a f***? It's that
Yeah,
long
it's
ago.
too late now.
But nothing's too late. I get. But no, the point is that no, I did not get the shot. I wasn't opposed. My position was I wasn't opposed to getting the shot. I just knew it was bullshit.
Yeah,
And therefore, I
yeah.
was not going to spend 1 second of my time getting involved in it until I
Yeah.
needed it. Let's say if I had to fly somewhere and I had to fly, let's say to Israel or anywhere for that matter, and I needed the shot, I'm like, all right, I'll deal with it then.
Yeah,
like,
but
I didn't see- I didn't
why get a shot to stay inside?
Yeah, no, I thought my position was the whole thing was bullshit, but if I just practically need
Yeah, well,
to
you
go-
were right. Anybody that stood up against that and didn't get a shot, I applaud you.
Yeah.
You got a lot of backbone and a lot of courage to not submit, because you basically resisted a $200 or $300 billion ad campaign. I mean, you're a strong person to say I ain't doing that.
Yeah, they really pushed hard with that.
They
That
pushed
was like
it hard, bro.
animalistic.
Like
It drove me
offered
crazy.
people weed, offered people hamburgers, hot dogs, threatened them when that didn't work.
It really, that whole period of time was infuriating. Like
Yeah.
flying, like every single thing of like,
Yeah, it was terrible getting on my plane.
you.
It was terrible. It was. He
Next
asked.
time I'm calling you.
He asked me. I came in today. We flew in yesterday. He's like, "Hey, would you ask me about my plane?" But he said,
No, I said it must be nice to
Yeah,
be
so-
able to just
yeah, as
get
oppo-
on to freaking
yeah.
like. I asked you when you were leaving.
as
I don't
opposed to
know.
what, you know?
I'll decide
Yeah,
when I'm
yeah,
leaving.
yeah.
I've told people around me the number one thing that I will do, God willing, when I have
Yeah.
the money for it.
Own a private plane.
Yeah, it's just from a practicality standpoint. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
I am
It's
so
about,
sick.
it's probably one of the best things.
Going into an airport.
It's disgusting.
It is you are cattle. You are herded in
Totally.
and they haven't fixed.
If
any,
you have any self-esteem at all, you have that same sensation when you walk through an airport.
can't.
Any self-esteem at all, and you're going to be like, "What am I doing here?"
can I tell you what? To me, Osama bin Laden's greatest feat was not knocking down the Twin Towers. It was the fact that 24 years later we're still taking off our shoes.
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
walk in, this
Yeah.
man has us taking off our shoes.
Yeah, yeah,
When we walk, that's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
can we revamp this a little bit and
Yeah.
figure something out? It's 2025. We have AI that can literally do whatever the it wants to do.
Right,
It can
right.
send a plane. Why? The fact that there's been no progress in security in any capacity, right? As
Yeah.
far as making it easier to fly. is absurd to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand, and that just drives me mad. And of course, you're always rushing. There's always a problem. The plane is always late. The this, the that.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this episode, Sunset Window Fashions, more commonly known as Daniel Dex, the owner of the company, who is fantastic. He does all kinds of window shades, whether that be drapes, zebra shades, Roman shades, silhouette, pirouette, you name it, any type of window shades. These are the guys to go to, as I always say, and it's the truth. I know this because I use them. Super, super nice guy. Amazing prices. I even priced it out with someone else. He came in far, far cheaper. Customer service, awesome. Just an awesome guy. I highly, highly recommend people reaching out to him. He's got the patience, picks up the phone. Just a nice guy with fantastic prices. You can't go wrong, and all the wealthy people are using him. He services mainly the New York area. Across the board, he will get back to you ASAP. The best number to reach him on is 917-440-0590. Again, that's 917-440-0590. Just ask for Daniel. You can let him know that you heard about him from the Mialibeled Podcast. Now back to our episode. So with 10X, who's been your favorite guest so far?
Trump was definitely one of them, man. He was fantastic.
We're going to put Trump aside. Who else?
It was great to interview him. Look, I don't know, man. Brady was fantastic.
Brady is...
Kevin Hart was unbelievable. Dana White was great. I mean, it's really, I think about the two people I haven't gotten yet.
Who's that?
That I would love to have this
LeBron?
year. Not
Michael?
really.
Michael?
No. Yeah, we actually
on,
wanted
Michael
Michael.
Jordan is-
We asked Michael, actually. Didn't get him.
He's so private with
Yeah,
his
he's
life.
very private. But Dave Chappelle
Dave
would be
is
my
great.
number one,
great.
because I think he's one of the most intelligent people on the planet. And
favorite comedian.
Tom Cruise.
Why? What's your obsession with Tom Cruise?
Well, I like Tom. I like his style. I like his commitment to movie making, and he funds all that. Like all his movies are produced by him now.
Is there? You don't really talk about this much from a Scientology factor. He's a Scientologist.
Yeah,
right?
he is. He is.
That something? Are you involved in
But-
Scientology?
Yeah, yeah. I'm practicing Scientology for 21 years.
What would be your response to the people that are anti it?
You don't know what you're talking about. I mean, unless you're anti.
What are they missing?
Unless you're.
I don't
unless
know
you're-
anything about it. So, like, what are these people?
Well, if you're
missing?
against families, you probably wouldn't want Scientology. If you're pro drugs, you probably don't like Scientology. If you want your kids to be able to read, write, count, be articulate, communicate, make good choices in life, you probably wouldn't like Scientology.
What's the counter argument that these people make? I don't know the first thing about this. So
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
I don't know.
You don't even.
It's just weirdness.
Got it.
Oh, it's not a religion. Yeah, actually, it is a religion. It's the only religion, by the way, that you don't have to give up your Jewism or Catholicism or Protestantism or whatever your religion is. It's a practical religion for a person learning how to do life better.
Got it.
And it's not a dogma.
It's like pref equity. You can put it on top of whatever it is.
Well, not quite like pref equity, but because pref equity has too many time constraints on it. But anyway, Tom, it's not about Scientology and Tom.
Oh,
it's
got
about
it.
Tom Cruise is just a fascinating person to me. Is how he's lived his life, and
Yeah, he's great. He
Yeah.
really is great. So this year's the last year with that. You won't share anyone that you have. I was hoping for some exciting news on that
there's
one.
3 people that know who's going to be there, and it is going to be a list of epic, one after the other.
Can I ask you, from a logistics standpoint,
Yeah.
how do you pull something like that off?
Dude, we've done everything from I did the Marlins Stadium. There's
How many people are
I
working
flew
on that?
into the stadium from a plane.
Was it your plane?
No.
Oh, because you can.
I dropped in. We've dropped in from the ceiling, from the roof. It's been it's a business event that is very much like a concert.
Yeah. How many people do you have working on the project?
I have 1,500 employees. So
50. Currently, you have
so
1,500.
there'll be 230 people working on that one project.
It's a massive undertaking. How many people are going to be there this year?
It's a $10 million event. That's what I spend on it.
Yeah. How
So
many-
people pay anywhere between $1,000 and $30,000 to go, depending on their seat and where they're sitting. But even the people that pay $30,000, they're like, dude, that's a $10 million experience. Like 3 days, it's not a ball game. Like I know people that pay $30,000 to go to a football game.
Yeah.
That might not even be any good.
So again, there's how many people showing up? Let's just say
This event there'll be 6,000.
$6,000.
Yeah,
6,000.
6,000 people.
So it's $1,000 times 6. What are we looking at over there? I mean, it's a good profit margin, that's for sure.
No, it won't do that. It'll do. Yeah. Well, what
that's
is
a
that?
minimum.
That's $6 million. That means I lose.
Right.
That means I
But you
lose
have- but
$4
you have
million.
others,
That
but
means
you
I
have-
lose
you
$4
have the
million.
30,000.
Plus, I have the speakers.
Oh, that doesn't count the speakers.
But we'll do it online this year. Our last one, we're going to do. Any of your audience that wants to watch, I think they can go to 10xgrowthcon.com/virtual. It's free.
Got it.
Free for the world.
Very cool. How many people do you have watching that, typically?
There'll be hundreds of thousands online.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
What was your go all in moment of your life? Like where you were just like,
Yeah,
I'm scared, but I am right now putting all my chips in.
I mean, like this California thing's ridiculous. What I'm doing.
No, but years ago, I mean, there was got to have to have been a moment where you were like,
No,
you
dude.
were
When
doing-
you're broke, you don't have all in moments.
No, I mean, but I assume there was a first jump.
It's when you have stuff that all in starts to matter. It's not when you don't have anything.
No, I got that. So I'm asking, what was that point where you were like undertaking a massive risk, and it was like you had money, and now you're scared of losing what you've built.
When I did
tripling down.
Undercover Billionaire, I did that show where I got dropped off in Pueblo with no money.
Why do you see that as an example of going all in?
Because for the next 90 days I was dropped off. I couldn't use my name.
Got it.
I had no money. I didn't have a place to live.
I want to talk about
I didn't
that.
have any food, water, no place to live.
Yeah, that was I
I
actually
didn't have my family with me. How long could you go?
Oh no, I couldn't do that. I'm not claiming that I could do that.
You know what I'm saying? No, like how do you go? You don't have a place to live, no food, no water, no money, but you have money.
Right.
You
That's
have
a
no
mind-
place to
that's a
live, but
mind
you
fuck.
have beautiful places to live.
It's
But
a mind, yeah, it's a mind.
yeah, and
like I could
you have a
be-
name where people will help you, but you can't use your name
How do they not recognize you?
because I shaved my head. Shaved my head, grew a beard.
Did anyone figure it out?
One guy, I was doing a meeting with the guy. I didn't make the show, but
your voice.
in the middle of the meeting, he says, "You sound just like you sound just like Grant Cardone." And there was a guy sitting next to me, Matt, and I said, "Yeah." And Matt looks just like Ben Affleck.
That's great. That was your deflection.
It was a great deflection response.
great.
Yeah.
So with Undercover Billionaire, what was the hardest part of that? Was there like
Being away from my family.
yeah,
That was the hardest part.
that's very
And lying to people every day. Like I'm a very authentic person. So I tell people the way it is. Like
who did you have to lie to? Everyone that you
everyone.
interacted
Hey,
with.
my name's
Yeah.
Lewis Curtis was my name.
That was
So,
your name?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to, again, you built it into a $5.5 million business,
Yeah,
right? That was the valuation.
Yeah, in 90 days during COVID, by the way. I'm very proud of that.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
That's a very impressive
Yeah,
feat.
in a business I've never had.
Was that the hardest thing you've done?
Dude, that was pretty hard, bro.
And you're under fucking pressure. Like, this is going to
I
be
got
recorded.
people watching me, man. Shit, if this thing blows up in my face,
Yeah, that's
Ryan's not going to think anything of me anymore. Nobody's going to believe in me. Shit, my wife, my kids, all these people that bought your book, you're going to throw it away and
Where did you start?
burn
What,
it.
what was the first thing that you did when you landed there?
First thing I did was drop the $100 off at the bank.
What was the second thing you did?
Got a place to sleep.
How did you afford a place to sleep?
I went to a guy that had a business for sale. It was an RV park. And I said, "I'm interested in your business, but I don't know anything about RVs." And he's like, "Oh, let me show you around." And then I said, "Hey, you'll never believe this, but I don't have a place to sleep tonight." And he's like, "Shit, I look around."
You should know that I have a friend that's a very lucrative business, MHB, Mobile Home Parks.
Okay. Yeah.
You should look
It's a
into
great
that.
business.
It's fantastic. Accelerated depreciation, 5 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Across
I'll
the
look
whole
into
thing.
it. I'll look into it.
You should. Trust me. I have people that I know that are. Sam Zell
Yeah.
was one of the most.
Yeah.
Is one of the biggest people in that.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Bitcoin fund because I got to hear about
Yeah,
that. That's a fascinating.
we started. I've been studying Bitcoin for 7 years. I've been buying real estate for 30 years, and we took a piece of property in Melbourne, Florida. I was just telling Cantor Fitzgerald about this, Howard Lutnick's company, and he's a big Bitcoin guy. And we took a $72 million property, added $15 million worth of Bitcoin at purchase, and then every month it cash flows. It's 300 units. It cash flows positive, and we buy $300,000 of Bitcoin every month out of the cash flow. And then in 4 years, we'll have about $88 million worth of real estate
So
based,
effectively,
based on the future value, and we'll have 350 pieces of Bitcoin.
So effectively, you're taking the dividends, and instead of returning it to investors, you're sending it into Bitcoin, and they will participate in whatever the appreciation is.
So what we bought for $88 million, with the Bitcoin, we think is worth $90 million in the next 3 years, and then we get the Bitcoin for free, basically.
Right.
So if I sell the real estate off in 3 years, we'd make $28 million. No, $18 million.
And then you have the Bitcoin on top of whatever
and
that
then
does.
I'd have $18 million of profit for me and my investors out of the real estate, and we would still own 350 Bitcoin for free. So the Bitcoin could be worth $1 million a Bitcoin, or it could be worth
clever
250.
Idea.
It's very clever.
It is very clever. Actually,
it's never been done before.
Yeah,
we did our first fund. Best response I've ever had from a fundraise.
What did you raise?
We raised $88 million.
Wow.
Yeah, and I showed these guys this morning this thing, and they were like, "Dude, that is
no." I think you're onto something because getting someone to just invest in Bitcoin, for example, is like here. It's like you're tying the two together, and you're really offsetting the downside.
Yeah, because it could go to zero, and then you lose nothing because you still have the real estate.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So you really,
or I could spin the real estate off, and I have all the Bitcoin. And neither one of these considers using debt. And the moment I put debt on this, you're talking about something that could have
real leverage.
Yeah, 20 and 30x returns.
Last question. Obviously, you get a lot of criticism. You have a lot of haters. How do you deal with that? Like, how do
It depends on what they're hating me for, right? If it's my religion, I'm like, dude, we need more people that are religious. We need more churches. We need more people that have faith. If you're against faith and religion and churches and prayer and God, well, I don't know what you're hating on.
No, yeah.
If you're hating on my kids, that's a different thing. Now I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Yeah, I hear that.
Okay. If you're hating on me personally, okay, well, whatever, bro. F you. Like, it doesn't really bother me. Like, I have my life. I'm doing my life the way I do my life. I do things that I don't even like.
Yeah.
But I don't do anything that I hate so much that I would hate. There's nothing you're gonna do that I'm gonna stop and spend my energy to hate on you.
Did it take a minute to develop that thick skin? And now it's just
well, yeah. In the beginning, you don't know. You don't even know that that's going to happen, right? You're not prepared for it. But in my case, I have always been an underdog kind of guy. Like the way I grew up with my family and losing my dad and my brother, and things were hard for me. So like I've never expected it to be easy.
I hear that.
And I also, let me just say this, I also understand why some people don't like the way I do things. I come off a certain way. I don't apologize for what I say to people.
More brash.
Yeah. And so, some of this I bring on myself.
For all the kids out there, what would you tell 20-year-old Grant?
Bro, don't use drugs.
That's the key.
Don't use alcohol. Don't go clubbing. Stay away from your loser friends. Okay, you don't need. If you're a guy, you don't need women right now because you don't have anything to offer. And if you're a woman, just leave the guys alone because they don't have anything to offer you. I'd be really focused on my business and my career and get as good as you can at it.
I love it, Grant. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm very, very honored, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We will be back next week for another incredible episode. Plugs. Give me any quick plugs that you want to do.
GrantCardone.com / or CardoneCapital.com / Bitcoin.
Love it. All right, guys. Peace and love. On to the next episode.